Hey y'all, welcome back or welcome to my channel. Today I just wanted to talk about having children after dealing with maybe miscarriages or stillborns or whatever the case may be. So I have two children, two boys, one and the other one 6 weeks. Previously, maybe 5 years, here it is, come here. Probably. So about, I want to say probably about 6 years ago, I was pregnant. Pregnancy went great up until 23, 24 weeks. I had went to the hospital thinking that I was bleeding, and ended up being me bleeding other places. Like it had nothing to do with the baby or anything. But when she took my blood pressure, she was like, your blood pressure is really high. Like, let's take a minute and we'll take it again. Well, she took it again. It was even higher than before. So they decided to keep me in the hospital and, just closely monitor and see what was going on with that. Well, after spending the night, what, baby? So after spending the night and getting closely monitored, they were like, we've come to a conclusion that we're going to keep you until you have the baby. Because I was only like 24, 25 weeks pregnant. So, transported me to the hospital. And then I'll do like, I can, do another video with the details of what happened. But pretty much they transferred me to another hospital that specialized in premature babies, because they were like, you're probably going to have this baby premature. You have preeclampsia. Blood pressure is really high. Liver enzymes are really high. And you're starting to get really sick because of it. So transferred me over to another hospital, and maybe 2-3 days later, they were like, we're going to do your routine ultrasound, tell you what you're having. Because at that time, I didn't even know if the baby was a boy or a girl. So they was like, yeah, we're going to do that, tell you what you're having. And then we'll come to figure out, do we want to put you in labor now? Or do you want to risk yourself and maybe try to go a couple more days until your baby can at least get 1 pound? Because the baby wasn't even 1 pound at the time. But before I could even make that decision, the ultrasound tech came in. They were like, we're going to have to put you in labor. We're going to have to push the baby out. One of the hardest things I ever had to do in my life. Like, till this day, one of the hardest things I have to do with, deal with. Fast forward, I have the baby. I get super depressed and, definitely was going through postpartum, but didn't even know. I had to be. And they said it's a lot. It increases more in mothers who have miscarriages or stillborns or, ones who have to give their babies up for adoption. Those tend to be the ones that suffer from it the most. So I dealt with that for a very long time. I wrote a book on my story of, dealing with having a stillborn and how I coped with it. Fast forward even more. I was able to get over it. Like, I think of it now and celebrate my baby rather than be upset that she's not here. So I also have her tattooed on my chest. These are her little feet. But they're got enlarged because she was only 9 ounces, so they blew up the picture to do that. But anyway, so then I have children of my own. Like, so once I finally had more kids of my own that actually survived, which I never thought that I could, I don't know what, it's just something that just made me want to, I don't know how to explain it. People say that I'm very overbearing and overprotect the best. And everybody's like, oh, you're doing the most. He's only 1 year old and you're doing this, that, and the third for him. But people don't understand that, like, once you lose something, you don't want to go through that again. So I try everything that I can do. I do everything that I can to make sure he knows that he is loved. I'm not going anywhere. I don't, like, oh, he's attached to your hip. No, I'm attached to my babies. Like, I think about it all the time. Like, I just don't want to have to go through that ever again. That was like one of the hardest things I have ever had to deal with. So, me having children, living children, just kind of brought me back to that point of like how I felt when I lost her. And then I don't want to lose my children, so I'm very cautious of what I do. You know, I might be holding him back from, well, he's allergic to eggs, but besides that, like, holding him back from, like, not experiencing certain things as far as foods he eats, going places with people. You know, when we're at the park, as soon as he falls, I'm there running after him to make sure he's okay. It's just, I don't want anything to happen to my child. And I think that it just increased it increased more than it would for a normal mother, because I've dealt with losing my child. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's hard. Being pregnant after losing a baby. I was pregnant. Okay, so after losing her, I got pregnant 5 years later. The most nerve-wracking thing in my life. And I don't have easy pregnancies, so I didn't know if he was going to make it. You know, I didn't know if the same thing that happened with her was going to happen with him. I had so many other complications as well. He survived. Everything was cool. Then he gets here, and I'm like, even more nervous. What is something gonna happen now, you know? Then I get pregnant again. It's the same thing. So it's like, no matter how many years go by, no matter how many successful pregnancies I have, I'm always have in the back of my head that something like this will happen. And I just encourage other people, if they are going through that, or so if anybody has dealt with what I have or is dealing with it, just know that you are not alone. You know, even now, after having Cairo, I'm still kind of in that place where I'm like just praying to God that He will get me through this and my kids will be healthy and happy and everything will work out for us, because it's, I don't know, losing a child, it will forever be something I think about, especially when I have other children. So pray, keep the faith, and understand that God will be there, and He won't put anything on you that you can't take, and you just have to trust in Him and know that. So just letting people know that you're not alone. You know, one thing that I did that I regret is after having her, I just soaked in my misery. I started I started to drink very heavily. I was so angry that I did things and I ended up losing my job. You know, the kids that were around me didn't want to really be around me because I was just so angry with the world that I just was lashing out on everybody. It was bad, but one thing I will suggest for anybody else dealing with it is having somebody to talk to, or if you don't have anybody to talk to, write it down on paper. It took for me to write the book in order for me to get through it and, you know, be able to express myself. Because sometimes people don't understand and they tend to stray away from the topic, not talk to you at all, or, hey, you're acting different and I don't like how you're acting. Not realizing that this is something that something very traumatizing for me that I had to go through, and I really need somebody's support rather than somebody talking bad about how I'm acting at the moment because of what I dealt with. But then also understanding that be careful what you say to people, because you never know what their breaking point, what can cause them to have a mental breakdown is what I should say. So just watch what you say. So yeah, that's why I just wanted to come on here and talk about that, because it took me years to get over it. It took me years to get over it. And to realize, or for me, at least I think I have a better understanding in knowing why God put me through those things. You know, it wasn't such a healthy relationship that I was in. I wasn't mentally ready to be a mom. It took for me to have my child go through the pain, feel alone, to get stronger in my spirituality and understand who I was and find myself as a woman, grow into the woman that God has called me to be. So sometimes you go through things, but it's all a learning lesson. Like, there's a blessing in every lesson, for sure. And that lesson that I had to learn dealing with that, I gained a lot of knowledge. Just finally felt at peace with myself, you know, exited everybody out my life that, well, a lot of people did exit their self out when I had her, but those were the people that were toxic. And then I found out that the people that I had been putting on the back burner all along was actually my biggest supporters. But I chose to put other people before them because that's not who I wanted in my corner. So I think that was just an eye-opener too. And after that, we were friends for years. So I guess I say that all to say, don't get discouraged. Keep the faith. Keep moving forward, because as long as you're still here, you have some type of purpose in life. And just focus on what that is and find what makes you happy. Write it down on paper. Talk to a friend. If you can't talk to anybody, which I really don't, I keep a lot of things to myself, but I write it down on paper just to get it out my system. Like I said, I wrote a whole book, and that was how I got through dealing with the loss. And I mean, keep an eye on the book too, because I'm trying to figure out the whole publishing situation, but the book is called. So yeah, y'all, I got a lot that I could talk about, but I will be back to talk about more struggles of being a mom of young children and working while having babies and just little stuff like that. So stay tuned. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you've stayed to this end of the video, I love you for that. Thanks for watching and supporting. Bye.